So my sister moved about 4 hours north from where we live here, and she took the GT with her, of course. And she's been wanting to sell the GT so she can buy a all-wheel drive Subaru, more of the crossover type car, something that does well in the snow up where she's going to be, and something that she just would rather have. And that's fine, that's her choice. So these are the pictures of her car listed when it was for sale, and it only took a few days to sell the car. And I had put out the video about doing the brakes on it, and I mentioned the car was for sale, and I did that because there are people on the channel who would be upset to know that they didn't have a chance to buy this car. And in fact, somebody who does watch the channel commented on that brake video, and they said, I'll be checking this car in a bit. And eventually that conversation led into him saying, hey, I bought the car. Now, they got a really good Mustang GT, a really good driving car. Cosmetically speaking, the interior and exterior needs some work, but this car has been well maintained, mostly by me over the last several years. Like I said, I had bought this car when it was totaled and put it back on the road. I was starting to park the car out, and I felt bad about it. The truth about this car was I don't think it should have been totaled. I think it could have been repaired. But when the body shop put all the cost into a brand new hood, brand new headlights, brand new bumper, brand new everything, all OEM parts, with the cost of labor, it was enough to total the car out. But I put the car back together for very, very little, like $200 or less. The airbags didn't even deploy from this accident. The very tip of the front of the hood was cracked, but honestly it didn't need to be replaced. I know a body shop's going to make it perfect when they do fix it, but it didn't need that, and if that was going to save the car, then to me I didn't care. It just needed a new front bumper and some new headlights. The hood hinges were slightly bent, but once I put new ones on it was all straight. So I got it all straightened out and it was driving just fine. And the frame was straight. I mean, the unibody was straight. They had it on the alignment rack. There was no issues with this car when we got it all put back together. But one of the main things going for this car was no rust. And there was a comparable GT for sale that I was looking at that I really liked. This car had title issues. It was a car that was a little run down. It was a cool looking car. I really liked it. White with bullet wheels, the black interior. I thought this was a really nice car, and I was looking at it at the car lot, and looking it over I noticed that it had cosmetic issues with the seats. They were torn up, just like the one my sister has. The interior was in pretty good shape besides that. Automatic car. The hood release was busted on it. The door panels were pulled out. The door pulls are broken on a lot of these cars. The engine looked pretty good, and it said it was replaced recently, but look at this rust underneath. This is looking up behind the gas tank and the rear bumper support area, and you can see how bad it's starting to rust there, especially the straps for the gas tank cover. Look at how bad those are deteriorating. And so this car that my sister had, my old car, my friend's old car, was definitely a rust-free, very clean example of a Mustang GT. It did have a salvage rebuilt title, which shows that it's legal to drive. It's passed all the tests to show that it was put back together properly and safe to drive on the road. So basically, if you're looking for a running, driving car, this car was selling for half the price of that white one that was at a dealership. And we know dealerships have to ask more for a lot of reasons, but this was a very good, clean car for somebody. I had always run 5W30 full synthetic Mobil 1 oil in the car. I did the oil changes on the car. It had a brand new Ford Racing intake manifold replacement with the aluminum crossover. It had a new radiator. It had new vacuum lines from that Mustang GT engine that I picked up in Vegas because some of the lines were cracked, and it had a check engine light from that. It had a new alternator on it, which was pretty expensive, and my younger brother actually bought that because he was driving the car at the time. So it had a new alternator. You saw that I did the front brakes on it right before she went up north, and my brother had actually done the rear brakes recently as well. And I also did some new idler pulleys for the tensioner and just the idler pulleys on the front of the engine there so that it wouldn't squeak or have any issues. So there's just a lot of things that were done to this car to maintain it and take good care of it. And I was always making sure that the coolant level was good on it, making sure that the transmission fluid level was good and the oil levels were good, and just maintaining it. And so now it's in the hands of the new owner. I'll show you the video of it driving away, and I'm going to show you what he's been doing with the car since he bought it. So the guy who bought the GT actually has one exactly like it. His car hasn't been running for the last 4 months, and his plan was to take this one and swap the good parts or the better parts from his car onto this one for the time being. So here you can see he's already gone to work taking off the front bumper and adding the new headlights to it, or better shape headlights. He also took the hood off. The hood that was on this car had a really good hood scoop, even though the paint was really bad. But the tip of the front of the hood was a little crunched from the accident. It wasn't terrible. It didn't need to be replaced, and that's why it stayed on the car, especially because the paint matched at the time so well. But he did put the hood from his car on there, and the paint's in better shape. It does have some hood pins on there. They could be just the stick-on ones. I'm not really a fan of the hood pins, but anyway, it's looking a lot better. The new bumper with the chin spoiler on it looks a lot better than the one that was on it. Wasn't bad, and my brother had actually repainted it, but it was from another car. It used to be white, and she might have actually had the corners kind of broken on it, so he swapped his over, and it looks really good. It's the Mach 1 grill delete and the chin spoiler, so looking really good. I'm happy to see the car's in good hands. That's the most I could want for this car at the time. She wanted to sell it. That's fine. You know, she offered it to me, but I'm just not in the market for one of these right now. And I'm just happy to see that somebody else has it and they're enjoying the car, and I am looking forward to them taking care of the car. So this could be the final update of the '03 Redfire Mustang GT that's been on the channel. I've been making the update videos on it since I started getting more into the channel, although I've been working on this car for several years and taking care of this car for several years, and a lot of that wasn't on the channel. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more Mustang stories, more update stories on my cars.